Hello YouTube, welcome back to Master Spence I Am. This is going to be my last video before I go on vacation for next week. So if you guys, sorry, but there's going to be a little lull for the next week or so. But I do appreciate you guys watching. Don't go anywhere because I will be right back with more content right after the cruise with more hurricanes, updates every time I think that it's necessary. I'll definitely be doing a lot of updates for spring ball and right before the season starts, when training camp starts and all that. I'll be doing a lot more updates as well. And I will be trying to do more movie reviews, but the views on my channel are mostly towards the Miami Hurricane aspect, except for my Star Wars video, which actually has the most views out of any of my videos. But what I think I'm going to do is only review movies that I think people will enjoy hearing about. So I'm not just going to review every movie I see from now on. But let's get right into it. This is my signing day recap, and I'm going to basically, first I'm going to go over some of the misses, and then I'm going to rank the signing class that we got for this year. So first of all, I'm going to address this right off the bat. First, Tyler Bird and Latrell Williams, both flipping to Tennessee at the last minute. Now, I wish these kids the best. Don't get me wrong. I hope they're successful, except if they play us. And I do think Tyler Bird's going to play from day one in Tennessee. I really do. But he could have played from day one here. And I'm upset. Obviously, every fan would be upset that he's leaving. But come on, these kids, this is the rest of their lives. They're making the biggest choice of their life, of their early life. This is going to determine where they go after this. So let the kids decide on their own. We should have minimal interference with this. And if they don't choose, if they do this, they're teenagers. What do we expect? The hormones. A lot of these kids like the attention that they get from this. So us just paying attention to them after they do this is just feeding into their ego. And I'm not saying Tyler Bird or Latrell Williams has a big ego. I'm just saying if we keep doing this, their ego is going to grow. And then they're just going to get more and more ridiculous as time goes on. And you can see that in the NFL. You can see it in any sport. There are always those types of players. Chad Ochocinco, Terrell Owens. Obviously, those two aren't playing anymore. But you still have those types of players in the league with ODB, Josh Norman, even Jarvis Landry a little bit. I mean, all these players, even though they're really talented, they do have an ego, and that comes with playing the game. So it's not unexpected. I mean, it was unexpected, but it's not totally out of the world realm, so to speak, of not seeing it coming. I wasn't blindsided by it, I'll say that. So now, after talking about those two, we did lose a couple other, not lose like they were committed to us, but we had a really good chance at getting them, but it just didn't work out. And there's always a possibility that we might get someone after signing day, so keep an eye out for that. I'm sorry I didn't do a welcome to the U video for all of these guys and for all the commits. It just would have taken up, honestly, time I didn't have. So I'll get right into it. First, I'm going to start from 18 and work my way up to 1. So at number 18, it's a developmental. I actually did a welcome to you video on him. He's a developmental offensive tackle. He's Trey Johnson. He's about 6'7", 6'8". He projects as a project, but with Coach Searles, this will be a good indication of, I wouldn't say talent, an eye for talent, because they only had 2 months or so left to really hold this class together and improve upon it. But this will show if he can work with projects, how quickly they'll develop, and hopefully they'll develop more quicker than they did under Kehoe as of late. Because honestly, guys, we've had a couple projects come in, and I expected them to do better than they are now, so to speak. Alex Goll, Nick Linder. Nick Linder is probably you either hate or you love Nick Linder, and I'm on the love side. I think he's probably one of the best or most talented offensive linemen we have right now, and I think you got to pencil him in as a starter at center. I think, in my opinion, he's going to start at center. So basically, that is number 18, Trey Johnson. And number 17 is another defensive lineman on the defensive side of the ball now, Tyreek Martin, or Tyreek Martin. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. He's a tweener, defensive end, defensive tackle. My hope is that he's going to grow into his frame a little bit more, become a defensive tackle. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", about 260, 270 right now. So he's going to redshirt, put on some weight, hopefully get into that 285, 290, maybe even approaching 300. But 280, 290 is perfect for a 3 technique, which is what the defensive tackles will be doing in a 4-3 scheme. Either it's the 3's technique, or I believe it's the 0 shade technique is what it's called, where he's on the inside shoulder of the of the center and the left guard, and then the 3 technique is over the right guard. So that's at least my understanding of it. So let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below. I always like to learn something new if I am wrong. The reason why I have this kid above the other 2 is because of his upside, Jeff James. He only played 1 year. He is the nephew of Edgerrin James, the Hall of Fame running back who used to play for Miami. And he played 1 year of varsity football this past year. But he had 9 interceptions. And if you watch his tape, some of those interceptions are really they're talented interceptions. They're not just, oh, he threw it right to me. No, he has to jump and lay out for some of these catches. And honestly, if he gets coached up right, which I hope Mike Rumph will, because I should say Bandit, because he is a safety, and I don't really know if he has the skills to play corner. But I hope Bandit coach him up, and we'll see what happens with him. I think he could be a productive player down the line. Devontae Haskins, number 15. I don't think he's as bad as that says. I think he could. I forgot who it was who said this, and I think they're right. He kind of reminds me of Clive Walford when he first came in, and he has a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to get there, but I think that's his ceiling for right now. And if we develop him properly, he could be a Clive Walford type of person getting drafted in the 3rd round, I think, where he went to the Raiders. But number 14 is Cedric Wright. I tried putting him up higher because I really like Ced Wright. I think he's just like Jeff James, except he's played varsity. I think he played 4 years of varsity or 3 years of varsity. And he's just a ball hawk. He can tackle also. I think he had like 60, 70 tackles this past year. He had at least 5 or 6 interceptions. He should have been ranked higher for sure. I think he's a 4-star guy. I think it's just stature that is holding these recruiting sites back. He's only like 5'9", 5'10". He's a safety. So he's probably going to play free safety, too small to play strong. He could help in run support, but I think his tackling ability, if you watch his tape, is more in the passing game than in the running game. But that's just from his tape. Number 13 is another secondary gentleman by the name of Malik Young, who flipped from, not right away, but he decommitted from Georgia soon after Mark Richt left, and then committed to the Canes, I think the week of his commitment, of his visit, but before the visit actually started. I think he committed on Thursday or Wednesday, and the visit started on Friday. I haven't seen a lot of his tape, but from what I've seen, he's extremely athletic. I wouldn't say he's an Artie Burns type, but he definitely is in a tier below that at the very least. So I'm very excited about his athleticism, and I hope that he can show up his technique. I haven't seen how messy his technique is because I haven't really seen a lot of his videos, but with his athleticism alone, he can come in and contribute on special teams from day one. Michael Irvin III, he was at St. Thomas Aquinas with Sam Bruce, which is another one of our commits or signing prospects. They had a loaded receiving core, and they really spread the ball around, so his stats aren't gaudy, neither are Sam Bruce's, but just to think of him as a slot tight end or even lining up next to the right tackle or left tackle, I like what I see in the future if he progresses how I would hope so. Obviously, he'll need to get buffer. He's only 6'3", which is on the shorter end for a tight end, so we can see how that happens. But I think he would be a mismatch, even against linebackers, because I think he is faster than linebackers. Obviously, not as fast as secondary, but he is bigger than most secondaries. So I really want to see what his ball skills are like in terms of his tracking ability and high pointing the ball. But other than that, I like what I see athletically. He's not the most athletic, but for a tight end, I think he's on the upper echelon. Um, Next, we have the first of our trio of linebackers at number 11 is Michael Pickney, and I do think he'll make a presence here before he leaves, but I don't think it's going to be in this first year. He's probably going to redshirt. Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play on special teams, but that would be the smart thing in my mind. Excuse me. Because I think we're losing Jermaine Reese after this year, and something's escaping me, but I feel like Darren Owens probably got a redshirt year, but we're extremely low on depth there too, so you never know. They might play all of them from day one, but I would expect him to redshirt. Number 10, Deontay Mullins. This is if he gets in, because I'm not sure if he's even going to qualify. But if he qualifies, just like our linebacker group, we would probably have one of the top 5 receiver cores coming in the nation too. And a lot of people think we got the best one from Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach. So that's a good thing to hear also. Um, he's more of a possession receiver. He does have good athleticism. He basically is, if you want to just find the purest prospect in terms of receiving and see if you can build him up with his route running and stuff like that, he's what you're looking for. He has sure hands. He has separation ability. It might not be necessarily from his route running, but he knows how to get stuff done. And with his route running improving, hopefully while he's in college, he could get even better. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a candidate for YAC yards a lot, but which is yards after catch. I almost said run after catch, I thought, but yards after catch. Next, I have a defensive lineman again, Patrick Bethel, who's strong side defensive lineman. He at first I said he didn't have that. He's more of a run stopper in my mind because when I watched this film, a lot of it was him stopping the run and him. They played a lot of run first oriented teams, even teams who had a running quarterback as well. But rewatching that recently, a couple days ago, I did notice that I didn't give him enough credit for he is advanced for his age in terms of his pass rushing ability. He does have moves like a swim move. I believe I haven't seen him done a spin move, but he has the swim. He has uh, the bull rush I've seen also, and he also just sometimes uses his athleticism. So, and he does a pretty good job of using his hands. So that's a plus as well. Next is Romeo Finley, a safety out of Niceville, who I believe was schoolmates or teammates with Eli Stove, who went to Auburn, who we were gunning after at wide receiver. But the reason why he's so high up is he's a really physical safety. He's more of the strong safety, where Sedray is the free safety. He can make an impact pretty much right away on special teams, in my opinion, even making some huge plays on special teams, probably. Next up, you have Travis Homer, who's, I think, the youngest person in this class. He's a running back, has some Native American background in him, I've heard. He's fast. He's like Duke Johnson, but bigger, in my mind. If he has a crease, he's gonna hit the hole hard, and he could score at any moment, honestly. So it's always good to have. But it would have been nice to get a bigger back in this class as well. Jack Allison, number 5, quarterback of the future. He has probably one of the strongest arms I've seen in a while. He can make any throw out there. He had a funny quote actually when talking to Joe Zagacki of Hurricane Sports, and Joe asked him, "Is there a throw you can't make?" And he's like, "As of right now, no. But if I find one, I'll let you know." So it was funny. But Jack Allison definitely will be redshirting. He's too scrawny. He needs to add some weight. but after he adds some weight, and if Kaya forgoes his senior year, I think he will be the front runner to take over at quarterback. Number 4, Sam Bruce, the second of the three wide receivers that we took this class. He is very shifty. He could probably excel more in the slot than on the outside, but I do think, like Mark Rick said, as not the split end, but or the split end, not the flanker. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up, but either the split end or the flanker, one of them lines up on the line of scrimmage, and one of them does not. I think the flanker is the one that doesn't, so I'm gonna say flanker. But I'm not 100% sure. If you guys know, let me know. But I think Sam Bruce, just like Philip Dorsett, they can also play on the outside when they're not split out the line of scrimmage and have to face press coverage. I think press coverage is going to be his weakness on the outside, and if they can put him out there and give him some space at first, I think he could excel also on the outside. But no press. I don't think Sam is right now strong enough to beat press coverage. Mon Richards, I think this is the guy who comes in right away, starts opposite Stacy Coley from day one, and I think him and Stacy Coley are two leading receivers at the end of the year. 6'2", has the height, has the speed, has the hands. The guy has everything. If he can just improve his route running, just like every college, high school kid needs to do, I think he could be one like an Amari Cooper type. Someone compared him to, and I think that's a really good comparison too. Very natural athlete, makes everything look easy, and that's pretty much what Amari Cooper did. So he could potentially develop into Amari Cooper type receiver. With Ron Dugans here, who helped Devontae Parker, that's always a nice thing to know. Number 2, I have Zach McCloud, the second of the three linebackers. Sorry. He's an outside linebacker where Michael Pitney is an inside linebacker. And I'll say this, Zach McCloud knows how to separate the ball from the ball carrier. He can hit like a truck. Now, obviously, you guys probably guessed who number 1 is right now, but number 1 and number 2, I think both come in from day one. I think Zach McCloud has a great chance of, if not starting at outside linebacker, at least getting some snaps in the rotation. I think he's good enough from day one to do that. But we'll see, obviously, in spring first, and then fall, and then the games. Number 1, if you guys haven't guessed already, Shaquille Corman out of Oakleaf. He is by far I'm the most excited for out of this class, besides Amon Richards. But the reason why I put him number 1 is because he's at probably our biggest need besides defensive tackle. And we only got Tyreek Martin, and he's more of a project. He's not an impact player from day one. But in my opinion, Shaquille Corman, he's a bigger version of Denzel Perryman, but I feel like he's also better in coverage from day one than Denzel Perryman, so he's starting out ahead of Perryman, in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see how he progresses, and he's probably the one I'm most excited about. So my question to you, and I'll be reading this when I get back from the cruise next Thursday, who are you guys most excited to see in orange and green during spring even, or down the line? Who do you guys think has the most potential? Let me know in the comments below. I will respond. My pick for most potential is either Jeff James or Cedric Wright. Out of the lower ranked kids, not the highly touted kids that a lot of people know, but out of the highly touted kids, I would say Amon Richards and Shaquille Corman are probably the two that I would expect to do the biggest things while in orange and green. Followed closely, probably not too closely, but pretty close by Sam Bruce. I think he is overrated a little bit, but I don't think people give him enough credit either. He was sharing a lot of the load. So he didn't have the opportunity like a lot of these other kids to be the featured guy. So I want to see how he does, and I think that will actually help him because obviously when you go to college, you're not the go-to guy. You have to share the ball. So I want to see how he does in spring first, and then that'll start to form my opinion about his success in orange and green. So thank you guys for watching. I always tell you I appreciate it. It means the world to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Answer the questions, please. Other than that, I will see you guys next time.